What's good? What's going on, YouTube? This is Cameron. It's really exciting to see how many people have joined the channel because of the song Intrinsic. I wrote those lines, at least the chorus, 10 years ago. So, long time coming, but exciting to see some payoff. I've been writing for over 15 years as a creative writer and getting into the songwriting community. Unfortunately, fortunately, I am gainfully employed, so this is very much so a side hobby for me and not something I can work at full time. As a result, I have secured the beat and rights to another song to hopefully be a spiritual successor. I don't know when that's going to come to be, just because, like I said, full time job, and unfortunately, bills never stop asking to be paid. As a result, that's going to definitely slow down the availability to get it out as quickly as I would like. If it was up to me, I'd be pumping it out every week. But not the way that it's going to go. Sometimes you can't really rush art. So appreciate your patience and bearing with me. This is going to be a Bible reading for Genesis 26 through 28. And I've also been dealing with some learning curvature, learning growth, because of the fact that the microphone that I'm using is a USB Yeti and not the Rode NT1 5th generation. I was thinking I was going to be using this thing. I don't recommend it. If you double DAC it, it's already got a DAC built into it, and if you plug it in via XLR cable into a DAC, it ends up getting all sorts of issues. On top of that, there's a separate piece of software you have to run. Just kind of becomes a nightmare of a situation. Lots of feedback, lots of things going on with that. It's too smart. So I got to look for another microphone after dumping way too much money into that. So that being said, more music is en route and on the way. Just a matter of timing and timing the saddle, timing the studio. So let's get after it with Genesis. I'm going to be picking up from Genesis 25, my last video. This one's going to be pretty cool. All right. One of the things that I noticed as far as the translation I was using, the literal translation, I believe it was LSV, it was just hard. The Bible's already a translation from a language and a culture that's very much so not our own. So add the LSV on top of that, where it doesn't literally translate very well, and it was just getting to be a bit much. I just wanted to go through NIV and change up the pace a bit, so hopefully this helps. Isaac and Abimelech, chapter 26. Now there was a famine in the land besides the previous famine in Abraham's time, and Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land where I tell you to live. Stay in this land for a while, and I will be with you and will bless you. For to you and your descendants I will give all these lands and will confirm the oath I swore to your father Abraham." So God's obviously continuing that land oath that he had started with his father. "I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky." Again, another oath. "And will give them all these lands, and through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed, because Abraham obeyed me and did everything I required of him, keeping my commands, my decrees, and my instructions." So Isaac stayed in Gerar. When the men of that place asked him about his wife, he said, "She is my sister," because he was afraid to say, "She is my wife." He thought the men of this place might kill me on account of Rebekah, because she is beautiful. So, if you remember, this is the exact same crap that Abraham pulled. So like father, like son. When Isaac had been there a long time, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked down from a window and saw Isaac caressing his wife Rebekah. So Abimelech summoned Isaac and said, "She is really your wife. Why did you say she is my sister?" Isaac answered him, "Because I thought I might lose my life on account of her." Then Abimelech said, "What is this you have done on us? One of the men might well have slept with your wife, and then you would have brought guilt upon us." Very interesting, just knowing that the culture even cared about this, that there was even such a king that acknowledged, like, hey, I don't want guilt upon myself, upon my men, that he was actually thinking of it and having the foresight and understanding that there were consequences to that. Not sure if that was something enforced by the law at the time. Can't tell you, but just fascinating that somebody would even consider that, especially in relationship to today's times or other civilizations, other times where that's not even concern of other people's. Turn to the text, verse 11. So Abimelech gave orders to all the people, anyone who harms this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Isaac planted crops in that land, and the same year reaped 100-fold because the Lord blessed him. The man became rich, and his wealth continued to grow until he became very wealthy. He had so many flocks and the herds and servants that the Philistines envied him. So all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the time of his father Abraham, the Philistines stopped up, filling them with earth. Verse 16. Then Abimelech said to Isaac, move away from us. You have become too powerful for us. So Isaac moved away from there and encamped in the valley of Gerar, where he settled. Isaac reopened the wells that had been dug in the time of his father Abraham, which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham died. And so he gave them the same names his father had given them. Isaac's servant in the valley discovered a well of fresh water there, but the herders of Gerar quarreled with those of Isaac and said, the water is ours. So he named the well Esek, because they disputed with him. Then they dug another well, which they quarreled over that one also, so he named it Sitnah. He moved on from there and dug another well, and no one quarreled over it. He named it Rehoboth, saying, now the Lord has given us room, and we will flourish in the land. From there he went up to Beersheba. That night the Lord appeared to him and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless you and will increase the number of your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham. Isaac built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord. There he pitched his tent, and there his servants dug a well. Meanwhile, Abimelech had come to him from Gerar with Ahuzath, his personal advisor, and Phakal, the commander of his forces. Isaac asked him, why have you come to me, since you were hostile to me and sent me away? They answered, we saw clearly that the Lord was with you. So we said, there ought to be a sworn agreement between us and you. Let us make a treaty with you that you will do us no harm, just as we did not harm you, but always treated you well and sent you away peacefully. Now you are blessed by the Lord. Isaac then made a feast for them, and they ate and drank. Early the next morning, the men swore an oath to each other. Then Isaac sent them on their way, and they went away peacefully. That day, Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug. They said, we found water. He called it Sheba, and to this day, this name of the town has been Beersheba. When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and also Basmath, daughter of Elon the Hittite. There were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah. So this brief little blurb they have here at the bottom is just regarding Esau's behavior, marrying outside of the family traditions, marrying outside of what the custom was of, somebody from the chosen culture, which is, at least according to the previous chapters, part of their own family, like distant cousins, distant relatives. That was something that was against what the parents' wishes were. Now, obviously, the children, especially in arranged marriages, have a say and have volition in there as well too. I just don't really understand the culture enough, especially the history of it, to really unpack a lot of that. I'll just admit, sounds super strange when I read it, and like, why would you even have that be a custom in the family? But it's just that they're trying to centralize and focus all the power internally, and not, I think, give out some of that element, and they want the blessing maintained within and not to really share that blessing with others. That's kind of my best understanding of it. By all means, somebody correct me if they're more knowledgeable on that. And I'm certain you can do your own research, but just kind of my thoughts and understanding of the matter. Chapter 27. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, and said to him, my son. Here I am, he answered. Isaac said, I am now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your equipment and your quiver and bow, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare me the kind of tasty food I like and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessing before I die." Now Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau left for the open country to hunt game and bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Look, I overheard your father say to your brother Esau, 'Bring me some game, prepare me some tasty food to eat, so I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die.' Now, my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you. Go out to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats so I can prepare some tasty food for your father, just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat so that he may give you his blessing before he dies." Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, "But my brother Esau is a hairy man, while I have smooth skin. What if my father touches me? I would appear to be tricking him and would bring down a curse on myself rather than a blessing." His mother said to him, "My son, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I say. Go and get them for me." So he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and she prepared some tasty food, just as the way his father liked it. So there's obviously some more in contention between who was the favorite in the family. Typical understanding of the culture and the time frame is that the firstborn would ultimately end up getting the blessing that is the majority of what the father's estate was, all of the livestock up to this point, and maybe it was like 2/3 versus the 1/3 that the younger sibling would receive. And it really just depends on, I guess, the number of siblings. But I'm no mathematician, just kind of my understanding of it is that there was more on the table for the firstborn typically, but with Rebekah having her plot in the matter, she's trying to reverse the tables where Jacob gets the blessing, not Esau. Verse 14. So he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and she prepared some tasty food just the way his father liked it. Then Rebekah took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son, Jacob. She also covered his hands and the smooth part of his neck with the goatskins. Then she handed to her son Jacob the tasty food and the bread she had made. He went to his father and said, "My father." "Yes, my son," he answered. "Who is it?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game, so you may give me your blessing." Isaac asked his son, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" "The Lord, your God, gave me success," he replied. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come near so I can touch you, my son, to know whether you really are my son Esau or not." Maybe sensing some of the deception going on. Maybe the voice sounds a little different. Jacob went close to his father, Isaac, who touched him and said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. So he proceeded to bless him. "Are you really my son Esau?" he asked. "I am," he replied. Then he said, "My son, bring me some of your game to eat, so that I may give you my blessing." Jacob brought it to him, and he ate. And he brought some wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come here, my son, and kiss me." So he went to him and kissed him. When Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he blessed him and said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness, an abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and peoples bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed." After Isaac finished blessing him, and Jacob had scarcely left his father's presence, his brother Esau came in from hunting. He too prepared some tasty food and brought it to his father. Then he said to him, "My father, please sit up and eat some of my game, so that you may give me your blessing." His father Isaac asked him, "Who are you?" "I am your son," he answered, "your firstborn, Esau." Isaac trembled violently and said, "Who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it just before you came, and I blessed him, and indeed he will be blessed." When Esau heard his father's words, he burst out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, bless me too, my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing." Esau said, "Isn't he rightly named Jacob? This is the second time he has taken advantage of me. He took my birthright. Now he's taking my blessing. Then he asked, haven't you reserved any blessing for me? So, really quickly, just unpacking before I go forward here. So it looks like there's a bit more. The smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. Sounds kind of strange, but it's, if you recall from the previous chapters in other videos, that Jacob was not a outdoorsy, field-like man. He was more of the stay inside at home and follow his mother's lead type of man. So it was confirmation for Isaac, who's trying to bestow his blessing, that this is the son that is my favorite. This is the one that I'm choosing to receive a blessing. Just wanted to call that out. Verse 37, picking it back up, Isaac answered Esau, I have made him lord over you, and have made all his relatives his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son? Esau said to his father, do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father. Then Esau wept aloud. His father Isaac answered him, your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of heaven. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will throw his yoke from off your neck. Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. He said to himself, the days of mourning for my father are near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. Now, Jacob means heel grabber because in the womb, that was literally how they were trying to decide between the two twins which one was the firstborn. The first one ended up putting out a hand, and they tied a scarlet little piece of yarn around what would be the firstborn, because that was the first hand that came out. As a result, when the baby came out and it had the scarlet, that was Esau. Jacob was basically called heel grabber, which is a deceitful way of saying that you're not to be trusted, that you're deceptive. So when it talks about living up to his name earlier, isn't he rightly named Jacob? That's referring to that instance of why he's named what he's named, because he took his birthright and now he took his blessing. Going back to, it looks like, verse 42, when Rebekah was told what her older son Esau had said, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, your brother Esau is planning to avenge himself by killing you. Now then, my son, do what I say. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him for a while until your brother's fury subsides. When your brother is no longer angry with you and forgets what you did to him, I'll send word for you to come back from there. Why should I lose both of you in one day? Then Rebekah said to Isaac, I'm disgusted with living because of these Hittite women. If Jacob takes a wife from among the women of this land, from Hittite women like these, my life will not be worth living. Chapter 28. So Isaac called for Jacob and blessed him. Then he commanded him, do not marry a Canaanite woman. Go at once to Padan Aram, to the house of your mother's father Bethuel. Take a wife for yourself there from among the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and increase your numbers until you become a community of peoples. May he give you and your descendants the blessing given to Abraham, so that you may take possession of the land where you now reside as a foreigner, the land God gave to Abraham. Then Isaac sent Jacob on his way, and he went to Padan Aram, to Laban, son of Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, who was the mother of Jacob and Esau. So given a little bit of the family tree, obviously, there. Verse 6, now Esau learned that Isaac had blessed Jacob and had sent him to Padan Aram to take a wife from there, and that when he blessed him, he commanded him, do not marry a Canaanite woman, and that Jacob had obeyed his father and mother and gone to Padan Aram. Esau then, realizing how displeasing the Canaanite women were to his father Isaac, so he then went to Ishmael and married Mahalath, the sister of Nebaioth, and the daughter of Ishmael, son of Abraham, in addition to the wives he already had. So, in an effort to catch up to his brother, try to repair some of the damage, he's marrying extra wives as a way to like atone. He's creating further issues for himself, but it was a custom in the culture. It was customary to ultimately take on multiple wives. So I'm saying he's falling outside of God's law. He might be following what the normal like kind of, hey bro, just get you some more wives because that's what the buddies said so kind of mentality. And that's not the way to approach it, just because more wives, more problems. Best way to put it. Jacob's dream at Bethel. Jacob left Beersheba and set out to Haran. When he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. So when Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it. He said, or he was afraid. He was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. Early the next morning, Jacob took the stone he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it. He called that place Bethel, which actually means, I believe, house of worship. Through the city used to be called Luz. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey I am taking, and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's household, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house. And of all that you give me, I will give you a tenth. It's part of that tithe nature, a tenth, a tithe. That's where that's coming from. But that concludes chapter 28. So this is where we get Jacob's dream at Bethel, which becomes Jacob's ladder. And that has its own mythos and has taken on a legacy of its own. If you go to the Stairmaster at the gym, a lot of them are even called Jacob's ladder. But a lot of this mysterious kind of mythos that you hear from the Bible, it's not mythos, it's an actual dream that he had of God working through the dream to talk to Jacob. And this is where he makes through the dream a commitment unto the Lord, saying, I will not only tithe to you, but you will be my God. It's an act of surrender, that if you're going to bless me and you're going to guide me, this is Jacob affirming God right in here after God had affirmed Jacob, saying, hey, I will continue my blessing through you. So that being said, that is the end of the 3 chapters. I'm going to stop there just because it does get a little bit long-winded otherwise. Thank you so much for the time. God bless. Take care.